are back in. Yes. When they went there, they focused on first people going. And if you weren't going, what were you going to do? Give. Give to those who are going, and give and give and give. And they did all of that. They also made sure they had the right priest. Everybody had the right pedigree. You couldn't just stand up and say, oh, I'm a priest. And it's like, okay, let's let you get to work. No. They wanted to make sure that everybody was right. And then they left, and the first thing they did was set up an altar, right? Get the sacrifices going. Sacrifices for sin, but also sacrifices for thanksgiving, sacrifices of praise. All those sacrifices, get them going, and then they began to build, and they were able to finish the foundation of the temple, and the people said, yay, as a few said, oh, not nearly going to be as big and awesome as the one we just had 70 years ago, but still nice, right? It's nice to see things moving along. And everybody ever have that? You kind of starting out in a new project, and you make some big, good first progress, right? Get that altar, get the foundation, get things rolling. Things are rolling along, and then what happens? Disaster. The county comes in and says, stop. And that's kind of what happened here. There were some people living in the land who were not excited about Jerusalem getting back the band, right? Weren't happy about them getting back into their temple, which is kind of interesting, because why not? Well, they have their own gods. They're scared of them. Would you be scared of the one true God? I would be. We're going to see what happens. So they hit the foundation, but then they are challenged. Let's go to Ezra chapter 4. And we're going to see the challenge from the adversaries. Ezra chapter 4, starting verse 1. Now, when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel. Who's Zerubbabel? He's the governor, right? In the line, the grandson of Jehoiakim, right? And to the chief of the fathers, and said to them, let us build with you. Well, that sounds nice. You know, what sweet guys. They just want to help. But you always put what? First things first. Do not be unequally yoked with the world, right? Don't go down that path. And they said what? For we seek your God as you do, and we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assur, which brought us up hither. Now, you remember, a lot of that is true. You remember when they brought all the people in, Assyria, Assur is Assyria. When they brought Assyria came in, that people started saying, wait a minute, there's lions. Remember the lions? Well, the lions are coming in and eating people, so what does Assyria do? Let's bring some priests and bring them back into Israel so we can do this, right? So we can worship the God of the land, as they would say. Well, since they were brought back here, they've also come down in the area of Judah, right? And so they're right next door, and it's like, hey, we know that God. He's a great God. We've been worshiping him too. What's the problem? What, have they also been worshiping other gods? Oh, yeah. That's what they did, right? They'll worship him, but worship other gods, and to say that we will worship him as you do, what's the answer? No. You're not his children. You don't really believe. He's just one of the gods. You just want to do some sacrifices like you do, and just make everything all right. So what does Zerubbabel say, verse 3? But Zerubbabel and Yeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said to them, you have nothing to do with us to build an house unto our God. But we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel as King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us. And that goes back to the decree, right? The decree from Cyrus was go back and build the temple, giving them all the supplies and things that they may need. And how did the people take it? Being told, we don't need you. We don't want your help. Well, they didn't take it well. Verse 4. Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building, and hired counselors. What's another word for counselors? Lawyers. They hired lawyers against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia. As Darius, king of Persia, he's another great king of Persia, but this, by the way, that's not Darius the Mede during the time of Daniel, so that's a whole different topic. All right? Listen until then. So all that time they were trying to come in and thwart them, trying to make it tough on them, probably cutting off supply lines, coming in and knocking things down in the middle of the night. I don't know what they were doing. They were whispering in people's ears, hey, come work over here instead. You know, who knows what they were doing. At the same time, they were kind of just biding their time. Because what do we know about Persian kings? They don't change their mind. They may, but the decrees are already what? Got out. So they bide their time, just kind of messing around with them, getting lawyers and kind of planting seeds until Darius of Persia comes in. And then what do they do? Verse 6. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. Okay? So, Cyrus is gone, in comes Ahab. Now, if you want to try, I encourage you want to waste a week and a half, go through the history and try to figure out the line of the kings of Persia and the Medes. It is flat impossible. Historians still are like, ain't going to happen. Because they like to call themselves the same names. There are like a bunch of Dariuses. The same guy as Darius is also an Artaxerxes, who's also an Xerxes, who's also an Ahasuerus, who's also this or that and this and the other thing. And it's just, yeah. So Ahasuerus, though, was one of the ones that came after Cyrus, right? And what did they ask him? Because again, this is another emperor, right? Cyrus is gone. He's the one that said they come back, so let's get the next guy. Because all the decrees of Cyrus are now what? Dead, right? They're kind of dead. They're kind of like, we got a new one. So let's write unto him. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. And in the days of Artaxerxes wrote Bishlam, Mithridath, Tabeel, and the rest of their companions unto Artaxerxes, king of Persia, and the writing of the letter was written in Syrian tongue and interpreted in the Syrian tongue. Rehum, the chancellor of Shimshai, that's a great name, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The scribe wrote a letter against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes, the king, in this sort. And most people think Ahasuerus is the same as Artaxerxes, so it's really just the same person, but they got a lot of names. Yes. Okay? So they're writing to the next ruler of Persia. And what do they write? Verse 9. Then wrote Rehum, the chancellor of Shimshai, the scribe, and the rest of their companions, the Dinaites, the, Apharathites, the Tarpelites, the Apharathites, and Archavites, and Babylonians, I got that one, and Shushanhites, they're from people from Shushan, and Dehavites, and the Elamites. And what do they say? And the rest of the nations whom the great noble Asnapar brought over and set in the cities of Samaria and the rest of them on the side of the river at such time. This is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes the king. So what do they got to say? And again, it's making the point that these are all people who were brought from where? From outside, right? Again, when they conquered Israel, Samaria, they took the Israelites out and they brought these people all in from all different places and brought them in. Now again, it's true that they did bring some priests in them to teach the people about the God of this area so they could worship him along with the other gods, right? So yes, that's all true. But the point is, we were all brought here, and now we want to worship the God of this land. And they won't let us. They won't let us help build. So, we're going to tell Daddy. Right? They're tattletales. He won't let me play. Right? And they go run to the teacher, and they write this. Thy servants, the men on this side of the river, and at such time. Okay? So, this side of the river, so we learned this when we studied the places in Revelation. The Euphrates River is the most important river in the history of mankind. It just is. It's there from beginning when in the Bible? The garden. So, and it is that delineation. That side is evil, this side is the promised land. Right? And it's kind of that. And so when they're saying this side of the river, they mean this side of the Euphrates. All these people down here in Samaria, which used to be Israel, and all these down Syria, Lebanon, all these on this side of the river, right? We are all writing to you. Verse 12, be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from you to us are coming to Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up the walls thereof and joined the foundations. Bad city. Bad. Good writing there, huh? Who's he blaming it on? You sent these people here. You sent them back, and they're troublemakers. And they're building this city, that bad, bad city. Verse 13. Be it known now unto the king that if the city is builded and the walls set up again, then will they not pay toll, tribute, and custom, and so you shall damage the revenue of the kings. If they get this thing built, they're going to rebel again, and they're going to pay you any money. They're going to pay us any money. They're going to pay anybody any money. You get this thing rolling, it's going to be a problem. Now, we know from history, how's the wall? Is the wall really getting built? It really isn't. It's not until Nehemiah. They don't really get rolling on the walls. But you're talking to a king, and what's the king afraid of? I'm going to have to send my military down. I'm going to have to siege a city. I'm going to have to do all that stuff. It's not like he could just call somebody and say, hey, well, what the walls really look like, right? So he's taking their word for it. They're building up an army. They're building up an entire city here. Verse 14. Now, because we have maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not meet good for us to see the king's dishonor. We don't want to make it look bad. We hate for that. Therefore have we sent and certified the king that search may be made in the book of the records of your fathers. So shall you find the book of the records, and know that this city is a rebellious city, and hurtful unto kings and provinces, and that they have moved sedition within the same of old time. For which cause was this city destroyed? We certify the king that if this city be built again, and the walls thereof set up, by this means you shall have no portion on this side of the river. They're going to take over if you let this happen. What did they not mention? They didn't mention the temple. That's what the fight was really about. But it's like, it's like, oh, you're gonna have problems on your hands. So search. Now this is brilliant. They did have lawyers. So this is a great lawyerly plan. Make them afraid that they're going to lose money, afraid they're going to have a big fight in their hands, and also focus on, look at the records for what? Was this city rebellious? And by the way, what are they going to find? Yeah. And was that why Nebuchadnezzar had to come and knock it down? Yes. Yes. They are rebellious. So look for that. So what does Artaxerxes do? Look for the record, yeah. He got on his laptop and he was like, would have been so much easier back then, huh? Yeah, it was Dell. Compact 64. With dial-up. Verse 17. Then sent the king an answer unto Rehum the chancellor, and to Shimshai the scribe, and the rest of their companions that dwell in Samaria, and the rest beyond the river, peace, and at such a time. The letter which you sent us hath been plainly read before me. And I commanded that, and search has been made, and it is found that this city of old time has made insurrection against kings, plural, and that rebellion and sedition have been made therein. There have been mighty kings also over Jerusalem, which have ruled over all countries beyond the river, and toll, tribute, and custom was paid unto them. Is that true? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Guys like David, like Solomon, right? Mm-hmm. It's in the records, which is kind of interesting. Do you know a lot of historians still do not believe that David and Solomon actually existed, and that was all just made up by the Jews to make claim over Jerusalem and over that area? There's still people that still, more facts keep coming up. They keep finding things that actually make it true. But the Persians knew who they were. Their records were down during the times of the Persian Empire. They knew exactly who these guys were. And did they control that area? Yes, they controlled the Promised Land. Not very long, because they kept doing stupid stuff. But they did control it, right? So they find the record, and it is true. Verse 21. Give you now commandment to cause these men to cease, stop, and that this city be not builded until another commandment shall be given from me. Take heed now that you fail not to do this. Why should damage grow to the hurt of the kings? Okay. He says what? Stop. No more destruction until I say so. Now, you're the Israelites. You have a chance here, right? What do I do? Who has said build? Oh, Ezra and Nehemiah aren't even, let's see. Not quite yet. Not quite yet. But yeah, God said right. God said go back and be built, right? This is a decree from Cyrus, go back and build. This is what we want. Go back and build. And now another one is saying don't. You got to stop. Do you make insurrection? You fight the man? You go against him? No. First of all, they didn't got the army and things like that for it. Plus, again, they're the light of the world, right? They're the light of God. So what do? Verse 23. Now when the copy of King Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehum and Shimshai, they were excited. The scribe and their companions, they went up in haste to Jerusalem unto the Jews and made them to cease by force and power. They took their little armies, little bands, and said, got decree. You must stop. How quick do you think that was? Well, they were so excited. They ran the whole way. It's like, oh, we got them now. Then ceased the work of the house of God, which is at Jerusalem. So it ceased unto the 2nd year of the reign of Darius, king of Persia. So he says what? Stop. Therefore they what? Stop. All the rest of the years of Artaxerxes. Cyrus said go and build, but Artaxerxes says stop. They are not going to go against the emperor. Right? So he dies. And who takes over? Darius. Not the Mede, the Persian. He takes over, right? So what do? He takes over, and the first year they did nothing. They sat around. So God sent them Haggai. This is the time of Haggai and Zechariah. Now, Zechariah, you can read Zechariah, and I don't see how it fits into this at all. But Haggai is very clear. Okay? But Zechariah, I don't understand anything that guy's saying. I'm sure they did back then. But let's go to Haggai. If you want to know where it's at, go to Matthew, make a left. You'll go through Malachi and Zechariah and find Haggai. The last 3 books of the Old Testament are the prophets of this time, period. So Artaxerxes dies, and the people don't get started again. So God says, what? What are you sitting around for? So, with him goes the decree. He said stop, but he's gone. You're going to wait around for him to say go? He's dead. That ain't going to happen. So he sends Haggai. God sends Haggai. Chapter 1 of Haggai. In the 2nd year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, in the 1st day of the month, came the word of the Lord by Haggai, the prophet, unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua, he references Yeshua, the other one, the high priest, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, This people say, the time is not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built. It's not time yet. Why? Darius hasn't said stop. That was Artaxerxes. You should have started right when, but they waited 2 years, the 2nd year. So at least a year and some months. They have waited, and they're doing nothing. So Haggai comes and says, what? You gotta wait for the right time? Now's the time. You should have been working. Verse 3. Then came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet, saying, Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses with ceilings, and this house lie waste? Now, therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. You clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earns wages to put it into a bag with holes. In other words, you should have been working, and because you're not, your blessings are falling short. Are they getting some blessings? Yeah, but not the full blessings. Right? Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Figure out what you're doing. Go up to the mountain, bring wood, and build the house. I will take pleasure in it, and I will be glorified, saith the Lord. You looked for much, and lo, it came to little. When you brought it home, I did blow upon it. Everything you're doing, I'm going to just keep messing it up until you get this right. Why, saith the Lord of hosts? Because of mine house that is a waste, and you run every man unto his own house. Therefore, the heaven over you is stayed from dew, and the earth is stayed from her fruit. And I called for a drought upon the land, upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, upon that which the ground brings forth, upon men, upon cattle, upon all the labor of the hands. You're going to have a rough time until you start working again. Did he give them some time?
2 years.
Had roughly 2 years to get working, and they weren't doing it. So God's got to do what? Make their life miserable. So what does Zerubbabel do? Zerubbabel's a good guy. He loves the Lord. Stopped it when he was supposed to, but didn't get it going when he was supposed to. So when Haggai comes, what do you think his response is going to be? Hopefully he's learned from Chronicles, right? When God came on people and says, I will punish you if you don't get right, what did the good ones do? Got it right. And God blessed them. What did the bad ones do? I don't do one thing. I know better than you. So what does Zerubbabel do? Verse 12. Then Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel and Joshua the son of Josedek, the high priest, with all the remnant of the people, obeyed the voice of the Lord their God and the words of Haggai the prophet, as the Lord their God had sent him. And the people did fear before the Lord, and they did it. Let's give him a hand. And they did it. In fact, let's go back to Ezra. And from that point on, they started building again. Again, they had that foundation, and probably a little bit. They were building up from that foundation when they had to stop. And so now they get back to it. In Ezra chapter 5, then the prophets Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo prophesied of the Jews that were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel, even to them. Then rose up Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel. So that first verse is important because you can go to Haggai and see that's true, right? What did he prophesy? Get to work. So what did they do? Then rose up Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel and Yeshua the son of Josedek, spelling's different, same people, and began to build the house of God which is at Jerusalem, and with them were the prophets of God helping them. That's nice. They weren't just like, go to work. Who else went to work, sounds like? The prophets went to work too. That's good for them. At the same time came to them Tatnai, the governor of this side of the river, and Shetar Boznai. I could want to say Bonsai. Anybody say Bonsai? I always want to say Bonsai. Shetar Bonsai. And their companions, and said to them, who has commanded you to build this house and to make up this wall? God did. So they've been watching, right? The whole time they've been watching. It's been fallow. They haven't been doing it. New emperor comes on, Darius. That's still no work. Still, and all of a sudden one day they're starting to build, and they're like that. Who told you? Who commanded you to do this? Artaxerxes said you can't start up again until he says so. And he's dead. So it's up to Darius, right? So they're starting to build. Verse 4. Then said we unto them after this manner, what are the names of the men that make this building? But the eye of their God was upon the elders of the Jews, and they could not cause them to cease till the matter came to Darius. And then they returned answer by letter concerning this matter. A copy of the letter that Tatnai, the governor of the side of the river, and Shetar Bonsai, I keep saying it, and his companions, the Apharshatites, whatever they were, which were on the side of the river, sent unto Darius the king. So they came and said, who told you this? We want the names. We want the names of the people who are working here, because they are in violation of the decrees of Persia. And they're like, yeah, shut up. We're just going to keep building here. And they kind of tried to mess with them and everything like that again. They just kept building and building and building until they had to take it to who? Take it to Darius. So they take it to Darius. What did they ask this time? Verse 7. They sent a letter unto Darius, wherein was written thus: Unto Darius the king, all peace. Be it known to the king that we went into the province of Judea, to the house of the great God, which is builded with great stones and timber, is laid in the walls, and this work goes fast on and prospers in their hands. That's good news, actually, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Things are going well. When they got to work, they got to work, right? Then asked we those elders that said, Who commanded you to build this house and to make up these walls? What tattletales? I told her she shouldn't be doing that. She keeps doing it. We asked their names also to certify thee, that we might write the names of the men that were the chief of them. Try to get their names, right? Seems like the blacklist or something. And thus they returned us answer, saying, We are the servants of the God of heaven and earth, and build the house that was builded these many years ago, which a great king of Israel builded and set up. Solomon built it, right? But who told us to? How about God and history? This is our house, we will rebuild it. But after that, our fathers had provoked the God of heaven. They went further. Unto wrath, he gave them into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, the Chaldean, who destroyed this house and carried the people away into Babylon. But in the first year of Cyrus, the king of Babylon, the same King Cyrus, made a decree to build this house of God, right? Not only do we have our heritage, we have our God telling us, but also, remember, we came here for this purpose under Cyrus, right? Yes, it was torn down, but only torn down by our God. Because we were bad. So we're going to build it again if that same God tells us to build it, right? Verse 14, the vessels also of gold and silver of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple that was in Jerusalem and brought them into the temple of Babylon, those did Cyrus the king take out of the temple of Babylon, and they were delivered unto one whose name was Sheshbazzar, whom he made governor, and said unto him, Take these vessels, go carry them into the temple that is in Jerusalem, and let the house of God be builded in this place. Okay? They tell the whole story. Yeah, what do you mean? We're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah, I was just going to stop, but he said, until, he says, go again, and now that he's gone, we're going, right? We're going to keep moving forward. So, verse 17, Now therefore it seemed good to the king, let there be search made in the king's treasure house, which is there at Babylon, whether it be so that a decree was made of Cyrus the king to build the house of God at Jerusalem, and let the king send his pleasure to us concerning this matter. They asked a different question. They asked the wrong question. To King Artaxerxes, it was what? See if these guys are constantly doing insurrection and constantly causing problems. And the answer there was what? Yeah. This time they asked, well, did Cyrus actually tell them to rebuild it? What's Darius going to find? Mm-hmm. All Persians keep wonderful records. And they're going to find that decree. So this letter goes to Darius with all this information. And what does Darius do? Chapter 6. Then Darius the king made a decree. Ooh, a decree. And search was made in the house of the rolls where the treasures were laid up in Babylon, and there was found at Annandale in the palace that is in the province of the Medes a roll, and therein was a record thus written. In the first year of Cyrus, king of the same Cyrus king, made a decree concerning the house of God at Jerusalem. Let the house be builded, the place where they offered sacrifice, and let the foundations thereof be strongly laid. The height thereof 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 80 cubits, with 3 rows of great stones, and a row of new timber. And let the expenses be given out of the king's house. So what do they see? They find details. Size, how big it can be. So what can the people say? What can the adversary say? It's like, oh, it's too big. Oh, it's too small. It shouldn't be that grand. No, he gave a decree saying all this, even talking about verse 5. I won't read it all. But again, talking about all the gold that has to go back and all the service and everything that should go back, and even that he would give the money to pay for it, right? Verse 6. Now therefore, Tatnai, governor beyond the river, Basne, and your companions, the Aphrashitites, which are beyond the river, be you far from there. In other words, back off. The edict went out from Cyrus. Yes, they are correct. They have this permission. Let the work of this house of God alone. Let the governor of the Jews and the elders of the Jews build the house of God in this place. Moreover, I make a decree. Oh, another decree. They're going to hate this one. That night you guys should have quit when you were at. Because now he makes another decree. Moreover, I make a decree. What you shall do to the elders of these Jews for the building of the house of God. I will tell you what you can do to help. That of the king's goods, even of the tribute beyond the river, forthwith expenses be given to these men, that they be not hindered. So the money that's supposed to be going to Babylon, from this province, which, by the way, Tatnai, as governor for the Persians, was taking probably his cut. Anybody want to guess that he was? I mean, you're sure that he was. He's saying, no, I want all that money now going to the temple of God, to give to these people, right? Verse 9. And that which they have heard of, both young bullocks and rams and lambs for the burnt offerings of God in heaven, wheat, salt, wine, and oil, according to the appointment of the priests, which are at Jerusalem, let it be given them day by day without fail. Not only give them the money, the taxes and tolls that are coming in, but I want you to give them from your herds. And make sure they have enough to do all of the sacrifices necessary under their laws. And if you're not sure how much that is, ask them. They will tell you. Verse 10, that they may offer sacrifices of sweet savor unto the God of heaven and pray for the life of the king and of his sons. So, pray for me. Right? Now again, does that mean Darius was a believer in the one true God? Again, their system was, yeah, we'll worship every God, we'll pray to every God, just in case one of them is real. But still, have it right. He is the God of heaven, and do pray for the king. Verse 11. Also, oh no, there's an also. I have made a decree, another decree, that whosoever shall alter this word, let timber be pulled down from his house, and being set up, let him be hanged thereon, and let his house be made a dunghill for this. So if anybody gets involved, I want you to go in and take out a beam from the house, stick it out there, hang him on the beam, and let the house collapse. Boy, they were not liking this decrees at all. Yeah, it was nice. It was enough to just say, yeah, they can rebuild, right? That would have been nice. But then it becomes, now you got to pay for it. Now you got to give things for their offerings. And now if you interfere in any way, if I get a hit that you're causing problems, I'll destroy you.
Then be careful what you ask.
Yeah, exactly. Verse 12. And the God that hath cursed, that has caused his name to dwell there, destroyed all kings of peoples, that shall put to their hand to alter and to destroy this house of God, which is at Jerusalem. I, Darius, have made a decree. Let it be done with speed. Get it done.
Correctly.
Back off, get it done. And that's what he says. And if anybody, if any kings, if anybody tries to interfere, or even tries to knock it down, tries to destroy it again, they'll have to deal with me. By the way, how long did this temple last? Until 70 AD, when the Romans came in and tore it. So this is the temple that Jesus went to. This is the temple that Jesus worshipped in. This is that temple, right? That is being built here. Is this an important temple? Yeah. And even God's even got the Persians saying, "Don't touch it. We're going to have it built, and nobody touch it." Okay? Verse 13. So what did the adversaries do? What else could they do? He's kind of got them in a bind here, doesn't he? So what happened? Then Tatnai, the governor of this side of the river, Shethar, Basne, their companions, according to that which Darius the king had sent, so they did speedily. How much power does the king of Persia have? They did it speedily. Quick, get the money together. Quick, get some herds together. Let's get it down there, and let's tell everybody to leave alone. Okay? The elders of the Jews builded, and they prospered through the prophesying of Haggai, the prophet, and Zechariah, the son of Iddo, and they builded and finished it according to the commandment of the God of Israel, and according to the commandments of Cyrus and Darius and Artaxerxes, king of Persia. Why did Artaxerxes get in there? He said, stop. What? During that time, it was done. During those 3 reigns, it was all done. And it is finally what? Temple is what?
Finished.
Finished. I'm very excited about this. And it was dedicated. All right? Verse 15. And this house was finished on the 3rd day of the month Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king. So it started in the 2nd year of Darius, and it was done by the 6th year. That is fast. To build a structure that big, and all of that, and got it all done. And the children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the children of the captivity, kept the dedication of this house of God with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of God 100 bullocks, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and for a sin offering for all Israel, 12 he-goats, according to the number of the tribes of Israel. And they set the priests in their divisions, and the Levites in their courses for the service of God, which is at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. So again, they didn't just build and say, oh, isn't that pretty? Let's all go back to our jobs. They finished it, and also what? Established the services, the feasts, the sacrifices, the prayers, all the things they're supposed to be doing, and everybody started doing their job. Is this a good day? That's an awesome day. How awesome? Let's go to Haggai again. Haggai chapter 2. Haggai 2, verse 1. In the 7th month, in the 21st day of the month, came the word of the Lord by the prophet Haggai, saying, Speak now to Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua, the son of Josedek, the high priest, and to the residue of the people, saying, Who is left among you that saw this house in their first glory? How many do you think there was? Not many. How many were around 70 years ago, went off to Babylon and came back? Or 70 years ago were one of those stragglers who were left behind because they felt like there was no value to Babylon, right? How many of you remember the other one? And how do you see it now? Is it not in your eyes in comparison of it as nothing? Well, thanks, Haggai. Thanks for bringing us down. Come on. This is an exciting day. We're done. The temple's going awesome. And Haggai's like, oh, what God says, kind of jump in. Compared to the last one, oh, it's nothing. He keeps going. Verse 4. Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith the Lord, and be strong, O Joshua, son of Josedek, the high priest, and be strong, all you people of the land, saith the Lord, and work. For I am with you, saith the Lord of hosts. According to the word that I have covenanted with you when you came out of Egypt, so my spirit remains among you, fear you not. Yeah, temple's not as nice. But who's better than the temple? Is he still with you 100%? Yeah, his glory's still there, right? Verse 6, For thus saith the Lord of hosts, Yet once, it is a little while, and I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land. I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. I will fill this house with glory, saith the Lord of hosts. Isn't that interesting? What do you think he's prophesying to? When will he shake the earth? When will the glory of God enter into this temple? Yeah. Most people put this as a prophecy that it's just a little while. Now, is 400 years a long time? Yeah, but in God's eyes, nothing. A little while, yeah, you're looking at the outside, and some of you may be weeping. You may say that's not so nice, but remember, this is whose house? This is God's house. And I am still in control. I will shake the nation. I will rule, and this glory will be in this house.
And this is the temple Jesus walked into.
Yeah,
that's the temple.
That's the temple.
That makes it so much more special.
That temple. Right. Verse 8, the silver is mine, the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former, saith the Lord of hosts. And in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. Because what's going to happen in that temple? In that temple, on the day that Jesus Christ dies, what happens in that temple? Does God shake the earth?
Yes.
Yes, he shakes the earth, and what happens? And then that veil between God and us is ripped from top to bottom, and we have peace. And Acts, what a prophecy. Didn't start real strong there, Haggai. Kind of started on a downer, but it's a reminder, again, not by sight, but by faith. Don't look at this and kind of get down, because this is a special place. There will be peace, there will be glory in this place. And it's going to happen. We know it. When's the first time Jesus Christ goes to that very temple? When he's 8 days old. In order to do the circumcision and the dedication and all of that. We have the prophecies of Simeon and Hannah and all that stuff. And it's going to happen. And it's going to end there with the ripping of the temple, with those curtains between us and God, right? That's His glory images. That's an awesome.
And those curtains were so thick, there's no way to...
Oh yeah, and 7 layers. Each one thick and 7 layers, and you know, who could reach up to the top and rip from top to bottom? Maybe start at the bottom if I had a week, you know, one by one. But yeah, clearly it was God. What a great temple is finished. And the next thing they do is Passover. Got it all done by Passover. I think that's cool too. So we'll look at that next week. We'll start there and see what happens next, because the problems aren't over. And we'll see what they decided to do next. But they made a great step. They did it the right way. They put first things first. They gave respect to those in charge. And when God called them to start working, they what? Started working, got it done, and trusted Him. Can we learn from this?
So, in the children's church lessons we've been doing, we've been looking at Ezra and Nehemiah, and in the outlines that Corey's put together, he's referred to the troublemakers and tattletales as the Samaritans. Are they called that explicit? I mean, I've never heard them called that in the text.
No.
Okay.
They're called that because that's what all the people of that area were called. The Samaritans, because it's the 10 tribes in the north. They're all from that area, but they're coming down into Judea and causing all these problems. So are they Samaritans? Yes.
Yeah.
Are they Israelites who are half-breeds?
Yeah.
Or are they just people who were brought into the land? These are more people who were brought into the land.
Okay.
And they may have intermarried, but they're people from the outside. They are Samaritans, though.
Yeah.
That's probably where all this bad blood started, too.
Yeah, there's constant bad blood between them and those 10 tribes in the north. Because, but again, there were some faithful. Even at this time, there were some faithful in the north who were coming down and worshiping. So maybe we kind of forget that sometimes. Like, Judah and Benjamin are the only one. But there were people up north, too, who still did the right thing. All right, let's pray.